boys heat with a chance of Georgia history in the works.
It's not just for Georgia history. It's for Georgia immortality. It's a chance for high school running immortality. Tommy Latham has a chance to go sub 4 minutes. He's shown he can be right close. He knows that he has the ability to go sub 4 minutes. And here at his home crowd for the Marist Mile, he has a chance to make that history and cement himself as the greatest long distance runner in Georgia high school history.
And I've said it before, but most of these runners are running a good 3 or 4 seconds faster than they normally do. So if that trend holds true, Latham should be able to get a pretty spectacular time here, as we're looking at a good while before this race starts. They're going to drag out this intro as much as they can, as they should. This is a highly touted race here.
Of course, we might not even see the final stretch. Athletes crowding this last 100 meters. And I mean, it is just going to be a photo finish. Just Tommy against Father Time himself. Last PR was 4.94. Such a great season from him. All 4 years has just been dominant for the Marist War Eagles. Came to the Marist in 9th grade and has just been, like you said, a legend at Marist, not just there, but in the entire state.
Look, it's going to be a race focused on Tommy Latham and what he has the chance to do. But there is so many talented racers competing in this event, multiple Division I prospects, and we are going to get such an incredible race. All the incredible races we've seen during the day, nothing compares, nothing stacks up to the true adrenaline that we're going to see during this race, where Tommy Latham is going to try to beat that 4-minute mark.
And look at all the talent that they've drawn in, like you mentioned, Mr. Greco. They're bringing in from Gulf Breeze in Florida, Andrew Barrasett, and then at the number 2 spot, Owen Clemens, all the way from Tennessee. This is a southeastern race with a lot of Georgia talent, but southeastern talent as well. They're going to be able to push Tommy Latham. He's going to be in a pack of his own, but he's going to have that sound of footsteps in his ears from behind him that's going to continue to motivate him to move forward.
Coach Clark Rivers for the Marist War Eagles, really trying to get the most intense mile in Southeastern history. Really did a lot of great time recruiting, trying to hype up this Marist Mile. And I mean, the hype has proven itself. Definitely the most crowded cross-country event we've ever gotten here at Marist High School. And Atlanta, Georgia is just absolutely rocking right now. Still a ways to go before we introduce these athletes, but I believe every single athlete is committed or soon to be. So many D1 prospects, especially Tommy Latham, has a teammate coming in the works, Jack Bowen, number 4 from McCallie. He is committed to UNC as well and represented the South in the Hoka Foot Locker National Cross Country Championship.
Yeah, it's going to be a race that them two are going to talk about at practice all the time for these next 4 years. You know, Tommy and Mr. Jack Bowen are going to be a stellar duo at UNC next year.
And you see these athletes just really talking to each other. There's no hate whatsoever, but that doesn't diminish competition in the slightest. Some of the most aggressive runners we've ever seen here.
And earlier in some of these races, I saw a race between McCallie and West Forsyth, where West Forsyth had 3 of the top boys and McCallie had 2 of the top boys. And there's a lot of physical aspects to that race early on. A lot of pushing and shoving, trying to get the advantage early on. And let's see how this maybe affects this top race. And we're also talking about teammates for Tommy Latham. Look at Andrew Strickland in that 9 spot tonight. Someone who has a lot of speed and a lot of ability. Look for him to try and make a push in this race.
Like we said, Andrew Strickland, another huge teammate of Tommy. The only other scratched athlete was Liam Hanneman, the senior from Marist. He was out earlier this week. Expected to come back within the next week or so, but unable to run this race. A huge impact for the War Eagles. Liam holds a state record in the 4 by mile, along with Tommy, Andrew, and Georgia Tech student Ian Gaffney. All are state record holders for that time, with 17:19.45 across a 4-minute mark. That is just absolutely incredible. These boys also all holding a huge DMR at the Nike Indoor Nationals earlier this year. They ran 10:08, which was 3rd in the nation, 2nd in Georgia all time between Andrew, Tommy, Liam, and Judson.
And it just shows how much talent is in this Marist program. They know how to win. They have the athletes to show out each and every meet. But there is nothing like having the chance to compete at your own home turf and have the ability to go out and make history. Andrew Strickland and Tommy Latham will want to go out here, show out in front of the fans, and try to beat their personal records.
I mean, Marist, speaking of history, just has a history of excellence. We just saw Brian Faust, Marist class of 2017, run at a huge World Indoor Championship. He was the 400-meter school record holder with a time of 47.16, a two-time Georgia State championship in the men's 400. Faust placed second in the U.S. podium sweep, and he also won gold in the 4x4, setting a national record and beating Jamaica and Hungary. So Tommy, huge shoes to fill, and I mean, he is just making his own mark.
When you see him, ask him what that PR is.
Like we've said before, other record updates coming up soon. Langston Hughes' very own Maurice Gleaton hoping to break sub 10 seconds in the 100-meter race at Fulton County Championship. That would be another Georgia record. There's only been two ever to break 10 seconds, and Christian Muller at 2024, as well as Braden Williams this year alone.
But I know there's one question. Where's Pope this evening?
And as we get start to set off these athletes towards the starting line,
And here we go,
I mean,
folks.
this will go down as one of the most historical days in all of track and field history.
The first annual Marist
And you
Mile.
just know what's on the line, especially in the state of Georgia. You love to see Georgia showing out and trying to showcase that they have some of the best runners in the entire country. But you're also seeing schools from different sort of states coming into here and trying to make their own mark. Multiple contestants who are projected to go inside the top 5 are from the good state of Tennessee, while there's also a runner from the good state of Florida.
Malachi Burnett just been announced, another Creekview athlete, the second fastest indoor 3K in Georgia history. Right in front of him, Loden Corman from BT, another senior committed to Sanford, and here is one of those D1 prospects start to settle in. Wyatt Wynton from Lumpkin County, he is committed to Georgia Tech with a PR of 4:15. Absolute incredible runner. And then here's where we get into the home field advantage. The second fastest athlete of the day for the War Eagles, Andrew Strickland, Marist' very own. He's still uncommitted, but is 6th all-time at our high school with a time of 9:18.47 in the 3200.
I mean, just another member of just insane senior class of the Marist War Eagles possess, with Tommy Latham, with Mae Waddell, with Andrew Strickland, Liam Hanneman. This Marist team knows how to win, and Andrew Strickland's going to try to prove that he's one of the best in the entire state tonight.
Next up, Jamison Pfeiffer from Collins Hill. He was actually second behind Tommy in the Coachwood Cross Country Invitational. He actually broke 15 as well. Right behind him, here's the sole Florida athlete, Andrew Barasett, flew all the way up to Georgia, the only sophomore in this matchup. And then right in front of him, Jackson Hodsted from Lambert, committed to the University of Alabama, a huge SEC runner, and the only one at that in this matchup. Coming in at the number 4 spot from McCallie, Jack Bowen, Tommy Latham's future teammate, committed to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, representing the South in the Hoka Foot Locker National Cross Country Championship. Now getting into the top 3, Zachary Youngblood, the first Tennessee guy of 2, Chattanooga Christian's very own, committed to the University of Florida with a PR of 4:07. Another 4:07 guy right in front of him, Owen Clemens, the junior from Cleveland High School in Tennessee, holds the 5K record for his school, as well as the number 3 spot in Tennessee for the 3 mile with 4:44. And then finally, the man of the hour, Tommy Latham, the greatest runner in Marist history, coming in as a senior. A previous PR of 4:00.94, committed to UNC, ran an 8:44 2-mile to win first in the nation for the Nike Indoor Nationals, now trying to get first in all of Georgia history for the 1600.
And you just got to wonder what the nerves are with Tommy Latham right now. He has been in big moments before, but I got to argue, this is probably the biggest of his entire career. A chance at immortality. mentality, a chance where he can prove that he is the greatest long-distance runner in the state of Georgia, and he has a chance to do that here tonight at his home field here at Hughes Spalding Stadium.
Both sides of the track sideline starting to pack up with fans. The entirety of each team, as well as a multitude of fans, really showing out, trying to cheer on possibly one of the greatest runs in Georgia history. Not just Tommy Latham, but multiple athletes trying to cement their names as some of the best in all of the state and the Southeast at that. We are off to the races. The hottest starts. These boys are flying through the first 100. Latham taking that early lead and expected to do so. Such an even pack, not even close to single file. These guys are crowding the first 3 lanes. Strickland right up there in the top 5 as well. And we have a very close matchup. Owen Clemens right on Latham's heels. Like you said, Nicholas, Latham will hear the patter of feet right behind him throughout this entirety of the matchup. Already through 200 meters, less than 40 seconds in.
Well, you know he's not too worried about this beginning part here. If he gets that good position, he'll be able to continue to maintain that elite pace that he's known for. Tommy Latham to continue to push the pace for these next 3 laps.
Hundreds of decibels setting in. These fans absolutely erupting, not even through 400 meters. Settling in at about a 1-minute mark unofficially for the first lap. Perfectly on time to break 4. Such an even matchup right here. The top 5 really breaking away. McCallie neck and neck. Owen Clemens right on their heels with Zachary Youngblood to end up the top 5. Latham making his mark. Really just him against time at the top of that lead. But some of these boys still trying to take within that top 5. A huge gap between the rest. 1:30 through this first 600 meters. And now 1,000 to go before we end off this race.
And Owen Clemens used a big chunk of energy at the beginning to try to maintain that second spot behind Tommy Latham. Here he is. He's losing just a little bit of speed here as McCallie comes up in 3rd.
Still a chase down the road. Tommy Latham through his next breakaway strip. Closing in on the 2-minute mark as we go through 400, and that is just the perfect timing. Absolute precision put into these splits. Coach Rivers has trained this guy all 4 years long, setting up for this moment in the greatest race in Marist history.
And there's still the Tommy pack. You see the schools from Tennessee still staying in the race, trying to maintain their speed, especially with Tommy Latham being so fast in front of the pack. And let's see if they're able to get any closer to Tommy as he tries to break history.
1,000 meters in, Owen Clemens hot on Tommy's heels at the number 2 spot. And these 4th and 5th spots not close behind. The gap's really starting to settle, and we finally get into a 1-man mark. 2:43 heading in through this first 1,100. Still a lap and a 4th to go, but already the electricity settling in. Still under 3 minutes, and we cross that 3-minute mark, and now here is your moment. 400 meters to go to cement your name in Georgia history, become something of legends. Already through the first 100 meters of this final lap, Tommy really starting to break away. That kick already settling in. He is moving quickly, really just feeling himself. That home field advantage working well. All fans on their feet. Halfway through this final lap, 3:30, perfect.
He's just barely on pace here.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It's going to come down to the wire as we knew it would.
Last 100 meters to go. We're settling in. 15 seconds to make Georgia history. Tomlin racing down the sideline. Everyone on his side. Still 5 seconds to go. Crossing the finish line. He might just do it, and he does. Tommy breaking Georgia history.
Oh my
solidifying his name and becoming something of legends. Tommy with a time of 3:59, and that might just do it. The greatest runner not just at Marist, but in all of the state of Georgia and the Southeast. Tommy already holds the record for the 3,200, just did it for the mile as well.
He knew the stakes going into this race. They knew the expectations that he had. It's his moment. Tommy Latham, so much talent being displayed here tonight. It was as close as it can get, but Tommy Latham was able to cross the finish line before the 4-minute mark, and look at the Marist War Eagles family surrounding him. What a moment for him.
Check out the official time, and that just seals the deal. Latham with his hands up in absolute celebration. This is where dreams are made of. And oh my goodness, absolute celebration. Tommy finally letting out that final roar. Everyone surrounding him, even if his opponents, knowing that this will be one of the greatest races they will ever be a part of. The Marist Mile standing up to its name, and wow.
And it was written in the cards from the beginning, this whole event set up for Tommy Latham. There he goes, being able to break the 4-minute mile. So proud. Tommy Latham with a horde of fans around him, everyone just wanting to get a piece of history.
Just got an emotional moment with his dad. He's been running since about the 5th grade, not since birth. Really got into it later than most, but just pick up the pace from there. I mean, just the absolute endurance on this man. Works 360 days a year, barely takes any time off throughout the cross country and track season, and UNC is getting one of the best of all time.
He is a truly unbelievable athlete, and he's going to show you when we replay this finish just how talented he is. He knew he had to turn on the burners. He knew just how close he was, and there he is flying down that 100-meter stretch with all the fans surrounding him, and just wow.
Coming down that final 100, you see that grin just start to shine. He knew he had it in his blood and just gets the job done. It was written in the stars from before the race even started. Tommy defying all odds.
Oh, with time to spare too. Not sure if we have the exact time yet, but it looks to be about 0.03 seconds in front of that 4-minute mark there. Impressive race from Tommy Latham. He was able to shave off a good little piece of time from his seating there.
The Milrose Games Indoor Mile Champion, and now 3:59 miler.
3:59, and it's only up from here. This is far from his last race in high school alone, not even considering college. Tommy well on his way to become a U.S. Olympic athlete.
And that will be an incredible moment for him, the day that he can don the red, white, and blue. But today, he repped the blue and gold of the Marist War Eagles. He came out with one goal: beat 4 minutes, get sub 4 minutes. He came out here today. He did exactly for Georgia State history.
Latham 1, the clock 0. And talk about the rest of these athletes as well. Owen Clemens right on his heels through 1,000 meters. He was really the motivation for Latham just to move that much forward, and that's exactly what Coach Rivers wanted. Get these high-level athletes, not just from Georgia, but from all across the Southeast, and really put some competition onto this Tommy Marshall track.
Latham was originally challenged by Zachary Youngblood from Chattanooga Christian. Those first 2 laps from him were absolutely electric, but Tommy outlasted him, and then coming back to Owen Clemens, he was there for the second 2 laps. He was testing Tommy. He was right there at his heels, and then Tommy was able to build that lead and finally break that 4-minute mark.
Not even just the out-of-state athletes, but some of our in-state, even in school as well. Andrew Strickland almost pacing Tommy through that first lap. Really just a team effort from the two, a selfless move by the co-senior, and Strickland really just gave Tommy that final ounce needed to complete the job.
And it really shows the unity that the War Eagles program has really established to allow all these runners to compete at the highest level. And that's what Tommy Latham, that's what Andrew Strickland, and that's what every War Eagles runner did tonight, beating their personal records, coming out on their home track and defending their name. And that's exactly what they wanted to do. But you gotta give shout outs to all the other schools who made the long drives here to Brookhaven, Georgia, came out and displayed their own greatness, getting their own personal records. So overall, a great day of track, and we saw some incredible miles in the process.
And as you see Tommy explaining the breakdown of this 1600 to some of his fellow athletes, I mean, you just see the absolute emotion going through. He just looks so shocked to even do it. But I mean, it's just the nerve that set in. Tommy told me before this race, didn't want to jinx anything before. He said he did not have the best week whatsoever. A very tough Tuesday workout that just didn't feel his best. But you know he performs under pressure. He likes getting upset with himself, expecting the worst out of himself, and then just proving himself wrong.
Yeah, it's difficult to imagine the amount of stress that was placed on his shoulders here, full event.
You see the two teammates hugging it out. Jack Bowen going on to the next level. The two D1 athletes are going to be some absolute firepower for these Tar Heels in the next 4 years.
And like you said earlier, this is just the start of their careers. They show just how talented they are in high school, especially Tommy Latham. But now some of these colleges have some of the best athletes in the entire country on their hands who have made their mark here at Hughes Spalding Stadium. And now for the future, they're only trying to go up from here, continuing to work on their craft. And it all comes back to that off-season work. So the road has just begun.
Already 1 of 1 for records being broken tonight. Still yet to see the finish of Maurice Gleason, Langston Hughes' very own, trying to break a record on the 100-meter mark. But this Marist Mile event has just been absolutely incredible from all angles. Not just this last race, but all 22 of them have been highly competitive. Besides Latham, you really haven't seen a lead stick for more than 1 or 2 laps. Each of these athletes just upsetting each other, pushing each other to become better, and the amount of PRs here was absolutely absurd.
Yeah, and this is what you want to continue to see, especially in the great state of Georgia. Just so many athletes trying to strive for perfection, trying to be just better what they ever thought they could be, and just gave us so many great events from the first heat all the way up to the final heat where Tommy Latham made history. It was all about people striving to do more than what they thought they could do, and it just leads to some incredible performances.
From top to bottom, these times were just elite. I mean, going back from these last 3 or 4 heats have just been absolutely insane. These finishes we've seen, there's been a few close ones. There's also been a few massive breakaways. Tommy Latham capping it off here at the end.
And the future is bright indeed. Not just at college, but in high school as well. We saw an incredible race in the final girls one from Avery Lowen. She already has won Gatorade Player of the Year. And I mean, the sign showed Tommy has the trifecta in the last 3 years for Gatorade Player of the Year. So really in close contention, and the females are working well so far.
And you can see from most of these schools that they've done a great job. Schools like West Versailles, McCallie, Marist, in developing the young talent along with their top-end runners to just create legacies, create a program, create dynasties that know how to win. And that's just going to be great for the next generation to see more players continue to strive for the best and strive to beat more records like Tommy Latham did tonight.
Absolute history made here in Hughes Spalding Stadium on the Tommy Marshall track. That will do it here for the Marist Mile, one of the best events in all of Georgia history, but more to come for the rest of these athletes and the Marist War Eagles throughout the entirety of the track season. We still have state championships events in the works in about a month or so, but here for tonight, that will do it up here in the booth. Once again, my name is David Owens, joined by Nicholas Kuipers and Ryan Greco. We'll see you very soon.